Good morning, this is your math sensei, Mr. Spensei, and we're going to be solving some equations. All right, so what I want you to do is solve them in Desmos to get the answer. And once you get the answer, I want you to show your work. All right, so I'm going to skip the Desmos part, and I'm just going to work through the problems showing my work. So when I look at this first one, 4/5 x equals -8. Well, I don't have parentheses, no like terms, can't move any variables because they're all on one side. All my constants are on one side. The only thing I need to do is eliminate this coefficient by either times or divide. Well, this is 4/5 x, and I can rewrite this as 4/5 parentheses x equals -8. The very fact that I have parentheses should give you a hint that what I'm doing is multiplying. So to undo multiplication, I have to do division, and dividing fractions easy as pie. Just flip it and multiply. So this becomes 1, or 20 over 20, which is 1. So this is 1x. And going back, and you can use your Desmos calculator. I'm going to use another calculator just to show you. Parenthesis, -8, parenthesis, 5 divided by 4, and I get -10. So 1x equals -10, x equals -10. All right, number 2. All right, in this case, we don't have, our coefficient is 1, so that's nice. We do have a constant. We have constants on both sides, and we always want, the goal is to isolate the variable. So I need to move this -15 away from the variable or letter n. So if it's a -15, the opposite of -15 is +15. So I'll put a +15 on both sides. This goes away, and this becomes n equals 6. So my answer is n equals 6. The next one. All right. It's written a little weird. So I'm going to draw this, and I have two constants. I need to move the constant away from the variable, so I need to move this 17. And why it doesn't show it, it's still a +17. So to undo a +17, I need to do a -17. This goes away, and this becomes -24 equals -3/4 x. All right, I didn't leave myself much room to do this, so I'm going to rewrite this a little with a little more room for myself. So -24 equals little, I'm going to leave myself a space here. Now, the fact that I have parentheses should indicate to you that I'm multiplying. Well, to do undo multiplication, I have to do division. But we're talking about fractions. Dividing fractions, easy as pie, flip it and multiply. So this is -4 over 3. And it really doesn't matter where you put the negative, with the 3 or the 4, it won't matter. It'll give you the same answer. But I have it on this side, so I also have to have it on this side. Because what you do to one side, you must do to the other side. This will give me -12 over 12. All right. So this ends up being a +1. So I have 1x. And this side, and if I go to my calculator, you know what? I should show you that in just a second. Here, let me do this. -4 divided by 3, close the parentheses, and the parentheses, -3 divided by 4. See, that equals 1, so that gives us the 1x. On the other side, we have -4 divided by 3, parentheses, and then -24. So we end up with 32 equals 1x. So our answer is x equals 32. All right, moving on to the next one. Okay, in this case, I have a constant that I need to move away, and we always want to move the constants to the other side. So really, I have two constants, 24 and 8. I need to move that 24. I'm going to do that by doing a -24, because this is a +24. When I do this, this drops away, and now I have -4/7 equals a +16. All right. So right now I'm multiplying, and I'm going to indicate that by putting parentheses. So to undo multiplication, I have to do division. and it's a fraction, so dividing fractions easy as pie. Have to flip it and multiply. So this goes away, and I have 16 parentheses, oops, 7 divided by -4, close those, and I end up with -28. So my answer is x equals a -28. All right, the next one, a nice little two-step equation. Once again, I need to move my constants away from my variable. The 1162 is already away from the variable, so I need to move the 42. Well, that's a plus 42, and the opposite of plus 42 is minus 42. So this gives me 40x equals, and I have 1162 minus 42 is 1120. Well, this is 40 times x. So this is because they're side by side. Essentially, we have 40 means the same thing when they're side by side like that. So it means multiply. So I have to undo multiplication through division. So 1120 divided by 40 is 28. So 1x equals 28. And our final answer is x equals 28. This one, another nice little two-step equation. All right, we have a constant, two constants. We have a 35 and a 65. I need to move my constant away from my variable. So the opposite of a plus 35 is a minus 35. Remember, anytime you're crossing an equal sign, you're using the inverse operation or the opposite operation. Okay? So this crosses out and becomes 0. So now I have negative 6t equals 30. And this is negative 6 times t because they're side by side. Essentially, it's like having it in parentheses. So if I'm multiplying, I have to undo multiplication through division. And this becomes 1. So I end up with 1t equals -5. So my answer is t equals -5. All right, moving on to the other side. Problem gets a little bit longer, and we're still going to be using the same things: distributive, combine, move, etc. Well, here we have parentheses, so we're going to have to use distributive property. I'm going to make sure I have enough room, so I'm going to rewrite this. 12 equals 4 parentheses x minus 3. All right. So I'm going to distribute. And now I have 12 equals 4x, and 4 times 3 is 12. I need to move my constants, and I have two constants right here. I need to move my constants away from my variables, so this 12 has to move away from this x. So to move that minus 12, I'm going to have to do a plus 12. This goes away, and now I have 24 equals 4x. This is the same as having 4 parentheses x. It's the same as multiplying, so I need to do the opposite of multiply, which is divide, because we're separating them. And now I have 6 equals 1x. My final answer is x equals 6. All right. 2 plus 3x equals 4 plus x. I have variables on both sides, so I want to make sure that I end up with them on the left-hand side. Nothing to combine. So the very first thing I can do is move a variable. Well, this plus x is the same as having a 1x. So the opposite of plus 1x is minus 1x. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So now I have 2x's equals 4. All right, I have constants on both sides. And I need to move my constants to the same side. So this 2 has got to move to the other side. So this is currently a plus 2. And so in order to move it, I have to do a minus 2. This gives me negative 2x equals 2. Divide both sides by negative 2. And this gives me 1x equals negative 1. So my final answer is x equals negative 1. And the reason this is 1 is negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. Now let's prove it to you on the calculator. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. All right. Okay, we have parentheses again, so we know we're going to have to do distributive property. And because of that, I want to make sure I have enough room. So with that said, and I have variables on both sides, so I want my variables to end up being on that side, always on the left. It helps us out when we're working with inequalities. So in this case, 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. So we have negative 18 minus 6x. Okay, so I need the variables on the left-hand side, which means I need to move this 18x. Well, that's kind of unfortunate because it was a plus 18x. So to do the opposite, I have to do a minus 18x. This goes away. And now I have negative 18 and minus 6 and 18. Signs are the same. Add the numbers and keep the sign. Gives me negative 24x equals 6. All right. I have two constants. I have a 6 as a constant and I have a negative 18. But the goal is to isolate the variable. So I need to move that 18 away from this variable. And I'm going to do that by doing the opposite because I have to cross the equal sign. So we're going to use the inverse operation of subtraction, which is addition, because this was a negative, so we need a positive. And I end up with negative 24x equals 6 plus 18 is 24. Well, this is the same as having negative 24 parenthesis x. It's the same as multiplying. So I have to undo the multiplication, and I undo the multiplication by using the opposite operation of multiplication, which is division. And since this is a negative 24, this has to be a negative 24. This becomes a positive 1x, and 24 divided by negative 24 is negative 1. So our final answer is x equals negative 1. All right. No distributive property, but I do have some like terms. Nothing I can combine on this side. I can't combine the 10 with the 30 because this has an x. So I have 10x plus 30. If I can combine the 3x and 9x, that gives me 12x plus 20. All right, we want our variables on the left, so I'm going to put a V for variables to remind us. So I need to move this 12s across the equal sign. Well, it doesn't show it, but if it doesn't have a sign, that's positive. So that's a positive 12x. So I have to do the opposite, which is a minus 12x. And this becomes negative 2x plus 30 equals 20. All right, we have two constants. We have a 30 and a 20. The goal is to get the variable by itself, so I have to move this 30 away from the variable. Well, this is a plus 30, so I'm going to do the opposite, which is a minus 30. So now I have negative 2x equals negative 10. All right, I need to get rid of this coefficient. This is like having a negative 2 parenthesis x, which means we're multiplying. So to undo the multiplication, I have to do a division. This becomes 1x. And negative 10 divided by negative 2 is 5. And I'll just do that real quickly on the calculator to show you. Negative 10 divided by negative 2 is 5. So our final answer is x equals 5. All right. Sure hope this helped. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks for watching.